Welcome to another episode of What's Up with DJ. I'm your host, DJ. Each week, I bring you topics about current events, career development, finance, holistic living, life hacks, and stories of inspiration and humor, all from a spiritual perspective. So be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and consider leaving a review on Apple Podcast. Your thoughts, opinions, and comments are always encouraged and appreciated. With that being said, let's get right into the show. My guest this week is Vivi Tai. She's a Vietnamese author currently residing in Canada. Her book, Living Through Alchemy, A Transformational Journey to Freedom, describes her courageous escape from the chains of expectation. She's now discovering what it means to be free. Her book serves as a heartfelt tribute to the life-changing potential of alchemy. She received her Bachelor's of Science in Chemical Engineering from Texas A&M University and a Master of Biomedical Engineering from Cornell University. So that means she's really, really smart. During this episode, we will discuss her struggles while living in the U.S. and why she started a new life in Canada. So, regardless of how smart you are and how talented you are, how pretty you are, you're going to have some struggles. She embarked on what she calls van life. Van life has simplified and uncovered her life's true purpose, and she lives and travels in her vintage Dodge van with her dog Marco. V helps her clients find their path to personal freedom and live their authentic selves through Reiki and meditation. And you can find her book, Living Through Alchemy, A Transformational Journey to Freedom, on Amazon. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me here. I love the bio. It's so sweet.
Yes. It's one thing that I'm so good at. I'm so good at creating a bio. It's actually one of my favorite parts about doing the podcast. Outside of having the discussion, is actually researching somebody and finding out their history and things like that. I love going through their different social profiles, LinkedIn profile, and just putting together their story. So, what is van life?
So, van life has actually been around for several decades now. I think I met someone who actually lived in the van in the 1970s. So I know that it has been around for a long time. But recently, it just got a lot of attention to the public because of YouTube, So now you go to van life.
And I love your YouTube. She has a YouTube show on YouTube, and I have the link in the show description. I love your YouTube show.
Thank you so much. Because of YouTube, so van life just got the huge spotlight, and it just got really popular these days for the last several years. Because it shows that the free lifestyle is really attractive to people, especially to people feel stuck and people feel like they have the desire to break free from the social norm and have an experience, like a lifetime experience, because it's all about adventures. It's all about YOLO, You only live once. So van life had got really popular on YouTube for that reason. And that's actually how I got to find out about van life as well. And, but at the time when I discovered van life, it was, I was in the period of my life, like the blank slate in my life. And I wanted to do something differently, live differently, because I wasn't happy with the life that I lived back in the US. And I discovered van life after I left the US. It's very popular in US and Canada. So only after I left the US and went back to Vietnam, and I was kind of seeking within myself, what is it that I really wanted to do with my life, and how how I want to live differently. And traveling has always been really my passion. So and I wasn't really happy living in Vietnam because I didn't feel like I could fit in with the culture there anymore, even though after like coming back to Vietnam, after having living in the US for so long.
Yeah, it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it,
me.
going to Vietnam to US, I'm sure was a culture shock, and then living in US and then going back to Vietnam, I'm sure was a culture shock.
Yeah.
But the other way around. But we'll get into your story about your journey from Vietnam to the U.S. because that's really about expectation. That's a great book back in the day called Great Expectations, and it sort of reminded me of your story. I mean, I don't know if you read the book or not, but it's like your story and that story like almost identical. You know.
It's Dope Sticks, baby.